Welcome back to What Are Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the T92 HMC. It's the Tier 10 American SPG. It's located on the east spawn of Malinovka, and this one is under the command of Cursed by Design. Now he's got a 24cm howitzer as his main armament. He's capable of doing 1100 alpha and penetrating 60mm of armor with a shot. Standard reload 46.98 seconds, the longest reload in the game, unless of course you're damaged, but it's the longest standard reload in the game. And we can see that Cursed by Design's got it down to 37.84 seconds. That's quite a big drop. Anyway, he's gone into the forest and he's lining up his first shot on the enemy. And usually to do that you would aim towards one of the most obvious targets. And in fact actually he spotted a leopard, so he's going to go for that instead. Grabs out. Well, 274 hit points to splash off the leopard with his first shot. And he's already changing position. Now this replay is from some time ago, and in fact actually what we're doing is a compare and contrast, because we've got two replays for you, one featuring the T92 HMC and the other one is actually featuring the GW E100, the Tier 10 German SPG. Okay, he's going to go for the Heshbon, just got spotted. Difficult to get a direct hit, but he's going to put the round in. Oh, direct hit, he did get it. And he got a high roll, 1,129 hit points. That Heshbon is hurting. You can see the leopards in the background. He hit that one before. This guy must be cursing his luck to get struck by a T92 HMC, even while he was hiding behind the rock. I thought it was an impossible shot to fire, but he got him. And he's out the game. Now, our EPR had to abandon his spotting position to get that shot empty, but he's now fine at T110 E3. Oh, and that was a direct hit as well. And we can see he's lost a considerable amount of hit points already. Okay, up on top of the hill. Number of enemy tanks, including two AMX M454, the Tier 10 French Heavy, and a number of other tanks have turned up as well. Okay, I think he's going to focus on this direction from now on. Okay, almost loaded. Here we go. The question is selecting the right spot to aim for to get the most damage out of the enemy. Now, when he moved the vehicle there, he actually introduced a bit of reticule bloom, and so he's having to readjust. In fact, he's deciding he's going to go after that 780. Grabs out. 353 hit points, which is a decent shot. But now we've got the enemy tanks coming down the hill, or at least on that side of it. I think he'll probably select these guys from now on, but of course, if you've got three enemy tanks together, it makes much more sense to fire at them, because not only do you stun them, but it gives your teammates a chance to hit them whilst they're stunned, and you pick up a stun assist. Okay, which one's he going to go for? Oh, that one definitely, because there's an Object 140 right alongside him. Line it up, work out where he's going. That's it. Grabs out. Direct hit! 416 hit points off the AMX M454. We don't know how much damage he did to the Object 140, but he must have done some damage to him as well. It was unspotted at the time the shell went in. Now you notice how he's sort of just hit the S key to move backwards. Should put a bit of element of side movement either side into it, but by pulling back he avoids the counter battery shot, because of course it confuses the enemy as to exactly where he is. You can see the 140 has lost virtually all of his hit points by now. Rounds out the M4. Another direct hit. That one was right on top of the gun. You can see the impact point is on the barrel. That's bound to have damaged his gun. And probably, well, he's probably actually fixing that at the moment. He probably had to burn his repair kit to get it back into action, so otherwise he won't be accurate at all. In the meantime, we've got a 780, the same one we fired at before, that's pushed forward to those rocks on the next step down next to the cliff. And I think Curse by Design is going to put a round into him instead. Rounds out. Well, he hit somebody because there was no explosion and the tracer seemed to stop very prematurely. It might be that there was another tank a little closer that took the hit instead of the 780. There was a Viz 55 seen up on that area, so it could have been the Viz 55 that took the round instead. Okay, the enemy's just lost their other FV4005. Or was it the FV4005? Yes, it was actually. And now we're going for the E4. Direct hit and a kill. That's his first kill of the game. Now there's two Artys on our team. We've got the Batchat 155-58, which is the tier 10 French SPG, as well as the T92 HMC of Curse by Design. On the enemy team, they've got an Object 261, which is the tier 10 Soviet, and a Conqueror gun carriage, and that's the tier 10 British. Now the good thing about the 261 is it's got a better fire rate and it dials in quickly on the enemy. The bad news about it is that it actually runs out of shells fairly quickly. He fired that shell in. Oh! Now it landed behind the target. Unfortunately, the target had already moved by the time his shell arrived. And you can see the Viz 55 is missing a considerable amount of hit points. So he might have been the tank that actually took that shot that he aimed at the 780. Okay, the enemy assault coming down the hill has kind of stopped for the moment, but it isn't over. The enemy's using that high position to shoot down on our tanks further down the hill. Okay, he's going to go for the Viz 55, just waiting for the right moment to fire. Fires it in there. Nope, didn't get it. I think it was a little too far back, that one. He needed it to wait until the Viz 55 turned round, but it disappeared before he could actually get the shot. And now our guys are too far away from the enemy tanks up on the hill to be able to see them, except for that 780, who's still popping up against the edge to shoot down. Oh, and now we've got the Viz 55 in sight, and he pulled back a long way, but he is a one-shot now. If we can get the shell on him, he's out the game altogether, and just lining one up on him. Now, we lost sight of him, but the CS63 will reacquire very shortly. There he is. Rounds out. Oh, that was bad RNG. The shell landed short by a long distance, and all it did was stun the Viz 55. And now we've got two other tanks in sight. The Object 140, in fact, he's gone. The 780 is not a one-shot, but the AMX M454 is now, and he's out the game. We're getting a request for fire on the Viz 55. That was our other Arty, the Batchat, firing that round in. And the Viz 55's gone, so I think this shot's going to go at the 780. And it is a kill. So that's two kills now for Curse by Design. And that was the last tank being killed, the AMX M454. And this one is over with a victory. Well, here's the end of stats for the first battle, and it's a first-class tanker for Curse by Design in the T92 HMC. In fact, it was not only his first-class tanker, but it actually was a first mark of excellence in that game, as well as a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11, and he got a Gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle, and on top of that, he got a Confederate medal as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win rate on that battle was 5,313, which is Super Unicum standard, and a good battle it was. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he did actually, funnily enough, get the highest damage in the game, but it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool, and that's why he didn't get the high caliber. 4,445 hit points in total to Curse by Design. The second highest damage was the AMX M454 on the enemy team, or at least one of them, who got 4,053, and the third highest damage turned out to be the Leopard 1, who got a Confederate and 3,942 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, it was actually shared between the EBR-105, who got that kill on the Heshbarn down on the plane. He got a patrol duty and 3 kills. And the Object 780 right up on top of the hill, he also got 3 kills in that game. 2 kills went to Cursed by Design, the CS63 and the TVP T5051. When it came to base XP, we can see that it was the EBR. He did spotting, actually, which earned him his extra XP. 7,943 hit points for spotting. A very good score. His win rate, 6464. So, yes, he certainly deserved to get that 1,263 with that amount of spotting. The second highest was the CS63, got 999. And the third highest was Cursed by Design with 865 out of that one. So, a very good score by him. We can see that he fired 12 rounds in the game, got 6 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetration. You only get 16 rounds in this Arty, so he still had 4 spare at the end of the game. The penetrating shot, well, we did see that one, didn't we? It was the Heshbarn. Not that one, no, because he hit that one as well, but he hit this one. 1,129 hit points from that shot. I think it was the second shot of the game, wasn't it? And he fired it in, and it was, well, miraculous almost, because it definitely hit the Heshbarn. I think it was either on the turret or on the hull, but either way it went straight through and earned him a nice high roll. Go back to the details, we can see he also got 15 splashes as well. 4,445 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 2, so there was an 8 difference there to get him the Confederate, and 1,095 hit points, a stun assist of 14 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 65,721 credits from the battle after ammunition and consumables took away 15,291 credits profit. It was a tier 10 game, so he got 7 bonds and 1,297 XP for the battle, times 2 for the first victory, 2,595 experience points altogether. So in the first battle, it's a first class and a first mark and a couple of medals. That's a good start. Let's see how we get on with the GW E100. The second replay is on the south spawn of Prokhorovka, and the GW E100 is under the command of TarantulaNE87. Game on. Well, this Arty actually never existed. It's a figment of wargaming's imagination, much like the Conqueror gun carriage for that matter. It's armed with a 21cm howitzer, which is actually capable of doing 900 alpha, and it will penetrate through a considerable amount of armor. If I remember correctly, it's 53mm of armor with a reload time of 37.39 by the book. You can see Tarantula's got it down to 32.91. Now, the GW E100 was supposed to be built on the E100 hull. Oh! Well, I think we've obviously got somebody who likes firing and then scooting straight away. So it looks like I'm going to have to take control of the camera before he fires and moves away. Otherwise, we're going to miss out on what actually happens with the shell he fires. Yes, it was a figment of wargaming's imagination because, as far as we know, they had no inclination to actually build a GW E100 because the E100 project had actually been cancelled by... oh, we did it before I could even see that one, so I'm going to have to run it backwards. Okay, well, let's see this one again. Yes, they stopped the E100 project before they even got to the stage where they might even consider making an artillery piece from it. Okay, well, let's take control of the camera straight away. He fires the round in. Oh, that was a good hit. 326, and it went straight into the side of the tortoise. Now, one of the good features of the GW E100, of course, is the fact that it does have good side skirts. And that actually protects the tracks from being hit by artillery shells, or getting splashed, you might say. It's not as slow as some Artys are. Some Artys are really slow because they've got a heavy weight. This one, not so. 40 kilometers an hour maximum speed. Rounds out. Lands alongside the Tortoise for 225. Most of the people who actually play the way that Tarantula is playing, I mean, there's another player called Hospitals who does it, they move immediately to avoid counter battery. And I can understand their reasons for doing it because it does make sense. However, it is still possible to move whilst you're in the aim mode, and you can see what happens to your shell even if you're on the move. That one fell short, but it did damage the M103. Certainly damaged his tracks. Now that Wargaming's made the tracer that much more obvious, it's very easy to counter battery if you know where the enemy Arty is, and it becomes fairly obvious after a while when you can see where the tracer's falling. Now, he's using the overhead mode most of the time to actually see where the enemy tank is. Fires around it, direct hit on the Striv K. Of course, that's the one with the Centurion turret on, I think it was a Striv hull, wasn't it? A Kramvan hull, I think it was, with the Centurion turret. Anyway, yes, there's good reason to actually move about. Immediately you fire, but obviously it does take away the enjoyment of the viewer from actually seeing what the shell does every time you fire it. So in order to ensure that we can actually see what happens, we have to take control of the camera, as I'm doing here, and then hope that we get a good view of what goes on when he fires. He's trying to get the Striv again. Rounds out. Well, it actually hit the Conqueror ahead of the Striv, and he's picking up loads of stun assist off that shot alone. Massive 1,224 stun assists so far on the game. Not all of that came from the Conqueror, some came from the Striv. It appears our guys up at the centre line are actually shooting up onto the hill, and when these tanks get struck, they're slowed down, which makes it much easier to get shells into their side. Now, that's the enemy Arty, and yes, I heard the rumble in the distance, and the M53, M55 just landed around behind us. There it is, you can see the crater, and so we're lucky not to have been taken out. Now, he didn't relocate after that shot, so you can see why he does relocate, but he failed to do so in this instance. Okay, he's taking aim at the Striv again. Fully dialed in, rounds out. Direct hit, 275. Now he's actually moving backwards towards the crater where the M53, M55 hit the first time. Normally that's not a good idea. You'd normally move away from the crater as much as you can, because there's a good possibility the M53, M55 will try to replicate the shot he did the previous time, but this time get a direct hit on target. Okay, there's the Tortoise again. Looks like he's going after this guy. Well, did he fire? Yes, he did. And he only got 138 off that one. But you can see he has moved, but not much. Not enough to avoid the M53, so I suspect that he might be getting another round coming at him. The place he's firing from is a well-known Arty position, and so it's very likely the enemy Arty looked at that and said, well, I've definitely got to fire rounds in that direction. Well, he can't see the target he was looking at before, so instead he's decided to go for the Conqueror. Take control of the camera. He's fired, and instead he hit the Striv K for 280. I was looking at the wrong tank there when he fired. Okay, so he's relocating again. Another problem he's got is, of course, that his teammate in the other Arty, the 212A, is also firing from the same area. That doubles the number of traces coming out. It makes it much easier for the enemy to work out where he is. He's going for the Conqueror. Now, is he aiming that direction? No, he's changed his aim altogether. In fact, he sees the Conqueror going zooming back in the distance, and looks like he's going to go for the M103. Rounds out. Direct hit. 340 hit points from that one. Now he moved forward to avoid counter battery, and then the T30 got in the way. And now he's looking for that Cranvarn, who I think wants to go up onto the east side of the map and up onto the hill to help his teammate. But I think he might get hit by an Arty shell on the way up there. He's loaded. Rounds out. Well, it was where the Cranvarn was, but yeah, look, there's the counter battery again. He is attracting fire from the enemy, which is the reason why he's moving. That Concept 1 is going to fall off the edge of the cliff if he's not careful. Okay, Leopards. They make good targets because they're very thin armor. Just got hit by the 2128. We're almost loaded. Let's see if he can get a shot in as well. Rounds out. Well, he tracked him, and he picked up 397 hit points of damage. Oh, and he's got some track damage as well on the Leopard, so he took more fire. I think the STB-1 fired around at him as well. Either that or it was Concept 1B who got the shot in. I think it did come from the STB though. Pretty sure. He's not aiming yet, but he's now decided to go off the standard B. Dialing in. Almost there. Thin armor on this one. Rounds out. Oh! That really overshot. It went right over the top of the standard B, and he got away with it. That's the 212, and he definitely got some damage. Now, the good thing about the GW E100 is you get 30 rounds of ammunition. It's a very big arty indeed. And that 30 rounds of ammunition can make a big difference because it means you can fire throughout the entire battle. You saw in this previous replay, oh, that was a lot of damage. We saw the damage actually go in. We didn't see exactly where the shell went on the vehicle, but I forgot to take control of the camera just after he fired, and well, that standard B is now badly wounded. Yes, you get plenty more ammunition. As you saw in the previous video, the T92 HMC only had 16 rounds of ammo, so it's rather short on ammo. And if you were firing continuously, that is, you were firing your artillery piece every time you had a shell in the breech, then you could run out of shells before the end of a battle. It is possible. Okay, so we've got a Heshbon. This could be fun. Rounds out. Here we go. Oh, that worked out very nicely indeed, because he not only got 305 hit points of damage, he got 656 from stun from this follow-up shot that went from I think it was our Grilla 15 who got him. A low roll from the Grilla. Of course, he's got a 750 alpha, and I think he picked up 656 off his shot. Okay, the next target is the Cranvarn, who's in the bowl, hopping up to the edge to take shots as soon as he's reloaded, but this time round he's going to get a shot. Oh, again he's unlucky. The shell zipped over the front of the Cranvarn, landed behind him. The 212A is doing exactly the same as well. They both had the same bad RNG at that moment. But that Cranvarn's being a real nuisance. They've spotted a Conway a short distance away, but he got wiped out by our Death Star. So we're going to go for the Cranvarn this time. Okay, line it up. Work out what he's going to do next. Rounds out. Looks good. Oh! RNG says no. You don't get that one either. Okay, so instead we've got a T-54 lightweight who's making his way up the tree line, and well, he didn't last very long either. The Grilla sorted him out, And, RU251 just took 2 rounds from the Cranbarn. He's about to die. He does. Yeah, and the Arty's fired at him as well. We're about to hit the Cranbarn. Rounds out. And this time round, it hits the edge of the bowl. He's not getting much luck at the moment, Tarantula. The good news is our team is up on the enemy. We're 2 up on the enemy. We've just lost our Waffenträger to their Foch B, but we are up on the enemy and they're pushing them back into their own area now. Our Concept 1B is making its way towards the railway crossing at the back, at the north end. Okay. We've lost sight of the Cranbarn. We're now looking at the railway crossing because we're expecting... Oh! We lost the Concept 1B. The enemy M53, M55 just took him out. That's very bad news. Okay, but the Cranbarn's come back into sight. He fires his first round and then moves forward. And all that round does is stun him. And that's the 2-minute warning. I must say this is beginning to look like a draw because we've got 5 enemy tanks to take out with only 2 minutes left. And most of our guys are in our half of the map. I thought when the Concept 1B went north that there was a chance they might be able to do this. But now with that Death Star's made a move up the tree line. He's trying to get ahead of the Cranbarn. Rounds out. Oh, right on the engine deck. 421. It didn't pen. It should have penned. Oh, he just got some stun assist, but the Death Star just died. Foch B got him as well. So it's not looking so good now because we were at one point 3 up on the enemy. Now we're only 1 up on the enemy. And there's still 4 of them left. And one of the tanks that just died was the Cranbarn. So it now looks, yes, there he is. It's a blind kill, I think. There's only 4 left, but we don't have any of the enemy in sight. Our T-30's come to a halt over on the hill. And although we've got the T-30 and our Guerrilla 15 moving up the tree line as fast as they dare, I don't think we're going to find the enemy in time to kill 4 of them. There's the Object 704. Come on. He's aiming for him. Oh, that was the T-30. So we've still got a round in the breach and 20 seconds left on the clock. So we might be able to get some more damage, but it's definitely looking like a draw now. 10 seconds. There's the Foch B. Rounds out. Unfortunately, it misses, and that's it. The game's over. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for TarantulaNE87 in the GW E100. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 13 in that one. And he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. In fact, he didn't get a single kill in that game, but that actually helped him to get the Confederate even more. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see that the actual damage he managed to do was 4,074 hit points of damage. That's the second highest score because the AMX-50 Foch managed 4,207. If he'd actually hit that Foch at the end of the game with that last shot, he probably would have passed that guy's score. But I'm not sure he would have got the high caliber even so, because even the Foch didn't get it. He got only a 5 for effect and a bruiser out of that game, so he couldn't have had 20% of the enemy hit pool. The third highest damage in the game turned out to be the 212A on his team with 2,477 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, it was actually the M53, M55, the guy who actually wounded us, or at least managed to get a shot fairly near us. He got 4 kills out of that game. The Foch managed to get 3, and 2 kills went to the T-30, the Guerrilla 15, the Death Star, and the Concept 1B. I'm afraid Tarantula didn't get any kills at all, I did mention that. But when it came to base XP, we can see that he did get the highest base in this game. 679 went to him, 558 went to the Concept 1B, and in third place was the M53, M55, and the enemy team managed to get 544. He fired 21 rounds, so still had 9 rounds left at the end of the game. He got 8 direct hits on the enemy, but no penetrations whatsoever. It's quite different from the game with Curse by Design in his T92. He did get at least 1 pen out of it, but I suppose it was because of the target he was aiming at. It was a very thin-skinned vehicle. He did fire at a Heshbon on this battle, Tarantula, but he didn't get a direct hit, and that's probably why the shell didn't go in. A 21-centimeter shell should have penetrated the Heshbon. 19 splashes as well, 4,074 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damaged 9 of the enemy, didn't get any kills, but he did get 296 hit points of damage assistance, that's the track damage, and 4,012 hit points of stun assist off 19 stuns. So combined damage was 8k in that game, 8k of the combined damage. And he earned 55,507 credits from the game, 40,000 from personal mission payout, 4,920 for the Achievements Award. That's for getting an Epic or a Battle Hero medal in a losing or drawn game. This was a draw, and he got a Confederate. That's a Battle Hero. He also got 130,641 credits altogether, and after repair and ammunition resupply, took away 85,981 credits profit. He earned 679 XP for the battle, 409 for the Achievements Award, and 1,632 experience points altogether. So 2 very different games in different Artys, both tier 10s, but very different results. Tarantula ended up with an ace tanker in that one, whilst Curse by Design only got a first class, but he did get a Gauze medal on top of that, the highest damage in the game, and a reasonably high base XP and win 8 out of it. So I think you could both say that both games were good for the players in terms of what they earned, but, well, it's so unsatisfying when you get a draw that it ends up that you weren't able to get the kills. But I think I would put that down to the fact that Tarantula's team didn't do that much in the way of damage. Because even though he got an ace tanker, because he was working hard, he got 8k combined, you look at the scores for his other teammates and you suddenly realise, well, these guys have got tier 10 tanks and they should be getting masses of damage, but they didn't. And you have to wonder why. So maybe his tanks let him down on this occasion, I think, Tarantula, and that's why he ended up with a draw. But certainly, I think you could say if he did an ace tanker, he certainly did his job as an Arty. And as for Curse by Design, well, I'd suspect that that first class was very close to an ace tanker, because after all, he did get 865 base out of that one and a huge amount of damage. So maybe he was just a fraction below what he needed to get an ace tanker out of it. If you enjoyed both of those replays, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.